Hey everybody, on this beautiful sunny Saturday. This is Ryan. This is Ryan Dixon, and I'm super excited that he's here today talking to us about crystals as I promised. I said within the next week we would do it, and here we are. So, Ryan Dixon, everybody. Ryan is a master Reiki healer. He's extremely knowledgeable in crystal energy and shamanism as well. So, he has a lot to share with us today. So I'm going to ask Ryan right away. First question is, how the heck did you get into crystals and energy healing with crystals?
Well, it's like kind of a very long story. It goes, I could say, even beyond this life, because it's something that I was just drawn to since I was a kid. When I was at parks and stuff, I'd be looking at all the rocks and trying to find the most coolest ones, like trying to find fossils, these ancient life forms, trying to find fool's gold, trying to find anything that seemed to just stand out to me. And I didn't know why. You know, I had all these fossils all around me for my whole life. And I started to forget about it a little bit because it was a little bit odd to most people. They were wondering why I was collecting all this stuff. And then basically when I became a teenager, I was playing sports and ended up injuring myself. So I had such a bad injury that physically I couldn't even lift a glass of water. So
Wow.
I was kind of talking to my mom, and I'm like, Mom, I'm in bed and I can't move my arm. This is really bad. And she like automatically just started speaking about Reiki because she was taking yoga classes and learning about Reiki healing. So I was open to it as she suggested it. I'm like, oh, if my mom is going to suggest this to me, I might as well try it out.
Listen to your mom, man. Listen to your mom.
So then she gave me a piece of clear quartz and said, if you hold this on your shoulder and think about love flowing from the earth through this crystal into your shoulder, it's going to help take the pain away. So like I was like, okay, like I'm in so much pain, I'm willing to give it a shot for right now. Anything could work. So I had a hot rock massage before, so that's kind of what I was expecting, was something like that. Anyways, I held this crystal to my shoulder and was just focusing the intention to heal myself. I was kind of aware at that time of like mind over matter, intention, how our thoughts create reality.
How old were you at this?
This was like when I was like 15 or 16, so like I was always into paranormal, so I was just automatically, you know, drawn to doing this type of stuff.
You're super open.
Yeah, I was very open to this kind of stuff forever, so it's just a passion of mine to share it now at this level of my life. But anyways, so I fell asleep with this crystal on my shoulder, and when I woke up, I like got up and just started moving as if nothing was wrong, and I didn't even remember that my shoulder was injured. So it was as if I shifted to a higher frequency. So I started asking more questions. I'm like, how did this work? Like, you know, does everyone know about this? Like, why don't more people do this? And,
it's like you want to just scream, you know?
Yeah, I'm like, wow, this actually works. So like, what other benefits could come from this? So I searched and couldn't find much information. It was kind of like a lot of people saying that it was just a placebo effect. So I just kind of forgot about it for a while. A couple of years later, maybe 2 years later, I got into shamanism, basically through just being curious about the spirit world and reading about ayahuasca, which is like a beverage that comes from South America. It's like a sacrament type brew or tea that they make out of a bunch of different plants, and they do a ceremony, like a spiritual healing ceremony, where basically you can find your higher self, you have like an ego death, and you receive all types of healing and messages. So when I started getting into this stuff, I like searched it right away and on the internet and just started finding information about people that were using it to heal really deep addictions, traumas, all kinds of stuff. And I felt this stuff really calling out to me as if I had worked with it before. It felt so comfortable and natural to me. So I just wanted to find other ways to use it and to learn more about it. So I started reaching out to people all around Canada, trying to find these ceremonies, and ended up finding a group that took me in when I was 19 and started
teaching.
Here in
Canada?
Yep, in Canada, and teaching me healing and directing me where to learn how to use ayahuasca. So
you've done ayahuasca?
Yes, I've used ayahuasca to to enhance my spiritual growth, basically. It can be used like anything, like basically it can be abused, but if people use it for the proper intentions,
absolutely,
then it can perform miracles.
It's a gift, absolutely.
Yeah, it's a gift from the earth.
Absolutely.
And it connects you to your higher self, to the spirit world. And essentially, that's what I've come to realize what shamanism is. As a lot of people kind of say, like, oh, like, how can you be a shaman if you're living in this natural, like, in this cultural world? And I just tell people that anyone that can connect with the spirit world through taking these plant medicines that are natural, natural mind meditation, dreaming, breath work, all that kind of stuff. If you're connecting with the spirit world and bringing messages back to this physical world, then you're a bridge to those other worlds, and you're essentially a shaman. And this type of ability.
So shaman basically being a bridge, the bridge of the
two worlds.
Two worlds. Okay.
Yeah, and crystals are helpful for this. Just like I said, I had crystals hanging around after doing the healing. Then when I would do these shamanic ceremonies, I would keep them around with me for good luck, just naturally. One day I pulled it out of my pocket when I was in a ceremony, and I started seeing this crystal glowing with all kinds of different colors, like rainbows and auras and orbs, and basically like holograms coming out of the crystal, and there's faces and stuff like that. So my third eye was very open from the DMT that was in the ayahuasca. So that's when I started to realize that using these crystals with shamanism enhances the experience quite a lot. And
so it's like amplifying?
Yeah.
Like amplifying, like...
And essentially that's how crystals work. They're amplifiers.
I was going to ask that.
Tell
us why? Like, what do they do?
These crystals are millions of years old from within the earth. So they are some of the oldest and most concentrated energy that this earth has. They're literally holding the memories from every experience that's ever happened on this planet. And the material that the crystal's made from is from the beginning of time. Like, that material is so powerful that it's been basically waiting inside the earth to come up now to help heal the planet.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah. And you know, when you said it carries all the memories, everything that's ever happened is in this beautiful almost being, you know.
Yeah, they are like living beings.
They are living beings. They're energy, so they're really just like us. We're energy and they're energy. There's not really a lot of difference between the two of us. So we have some today that we're going to talk about that Ryan brought, and some are mine. And so we're going to start with probably an amethyst, because a lot of people can recognize an amethyst.
Awesome.
So yeah, it's a nice one.
Yeah.
That's mine. I love it.
So yeah, just for everyone here, this is like a cluster of crystals. As you can see, there's like many different crystals all connected on a base as one. So a cluster is really good for just kind of like group meditations, group work. You might see just like points, and those are good for carrying around in your pocket personally, but you might see these like on people's tables and stuff like that. These are giving off a lot of vibes that can like fill an entire room, fill an entire house. And the purpose of amethyst is for spiritual activation, as it's violet. If you know a lot about the chakras, you can know that the higher chakras are violet and purple and white. So that's why these crystals help activate the chakras, because they're vibrating at the same frequency on, like, you know, the same color. So when you're...
Would that be into the crown chakras, Ryan? The amethyst, or?
It works on both. Like, it works on the third eye and the crown.
Okay.
It activates like the type of stuff that people really get excited about when they get into spirituality, like intuition, psychic abilities, dreaming with these crystals. It enhances all those spiritual aspects of life, basically. And I know this from experience, just by carrying them around, holding them, showing them to people, and just seeing what they think. A lot of people say they can feel like a buzzing like around them if they're energy sensitive. And
just so you know, I'm energy sensitive today. Before Ryan even got here, I said I was literally humming with energy. So I don't know if his energy was just coming before him, but when he walked in, I was like, wow, my ears are ringing and my head's buzzing. So what would we use an amethyst for? Is that really something that, and you form a relationship with them in a sense. You know, when you have these crystals, like you form a real bond with that crystal. So it's not just something you just lay there. I mean, you can really sleep with it, carry it around.
It becomes one
touch
with your
it,
consciousness, basically.
Okay, perfect. So this will amplify more of a third eye activation and higher crown chakra activation. Okay, so really good to use during meditation.
Oh yeah, and general healing always too. Like some people even hold it on their heart or any chakra because it's giving off that healing vibe that is like a life force energy that's very concentrated.
Cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorites. So
yeah, me too. My favorite color is always purple, so I was drawn to that one right away.
This is one that a lot of people have. I know is a rose quartz.
Yep.
And I know which is associated with our heart chakras. It's very love. It's very filled with love and light. So tell us a little bit about rose quartz.
Rose quartz, I love rose quartz. A lot of people say that clear quartz is one of the strongest crystals. I always tell people to go to rose quartz because the key to life, I think, is to live in the heart. And when your heart is open, you're going to be experiencing all kinds of different things that you'd be missing out on if you're only focused on the mental. So when people even ask me to explain certain things, I say, you kind of have to feel it differently. You can't really mentally analyze this kind of stuff too much. You just have to really feel it in your heart.
Feel into it. Feel into it. Right? Okay.
And the pink for this really brings in that love energy. Pink comes from lithium that's in the crystal. So this is just like a chunk of crystal. It's perfect for holding in your hand. If you're an energy worker, chakra clearer, chakra worker, you hold it on the heart chakra. Even though the heart's green, it still resonates with that loving energy, bringing the love from the earth into your body, into your life, into your aura.
Beautiful. I just have to say, a lot of the quartz that I gravitate to are not the polished quartz. I really love just when they're natural in their natural state and they haven't been tumbled too much. You know, a lot of other people do like tumbled quartz. Is there any difference in the energetic level of that quartz from tumbling and this natural?
I wouldn't say that either is better than either.
Right.
They just kind of serve differently. Like the raw crystal, it's going to hold a more like natural, unaltered energy right from the earth. And then a polished crystal, it's going to be more for just like holding in your hand and like real, like they call them palm stones. That's why they're so polished, because it just feels kind of nice to hold in your hand. And a lot of the same purposes can be used, such as like holding it on your chakras, meditating with it. But I personally am the same. I like the raw crystal better because I like to see the way that they naturally come right out of the earth.
Yeah, I really love that. I love that rawness. This is one of my favorites too because it looks like gold. It's
a pyrite.
Pyrite, yeah.
That was one of my favorite crystals growing up because they called it fool's gold.
Just show you that.
Yeah, show it up really closely there.
Pyrite. It's really just stunning.
Yeah, it's very sparkly and shiny, and this is really good for a lot of people get into the law of attraction and spirituality to try to manifest their higher purpose, you know, the reason why they came to this life. And personally, pyrite has kind of inspired me to, from a young age, as I said, I used to collect this stuff. So this was one of the first crystals that inspired me on my path to collect crystals, speak about crystals, show people crystals, and it's kind of just brought me to where I am today with my life purpose and abundance. And
Brian, my ears are buzzing like crazy right now. I'm fine, but there's a lot of energy here with this young gentleman. So
yeah, just speaking about this stuff is amazing.
Very high energy. Like you can feel it in the room. You can feel it. It feels amazing. So would you say this is a crystal that we use for if we have an intention? I always drop an intention in my meditations, you know. So to manifest, would this be something that we would use, you know, to help amplify manifesting?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, especially associated with abundance and money. That's like one of the prime qualities that's related with pyrite.
Perfect.
Yeah, I have a piece of that too for my son. I got it for my son because I liked it so much when I was young. Just decided to pass on the gifts to the younger generations.
Perfect. We need to all do that. Pass those gifts on to the younger so they can, you know, we're changing the world. So
that's what this is all about. Like I got into this for healing myself originally, But then I started to think about the bigger picture. You know, if I could use mind over matter to heal a sore shoulder, what is the extent of this mind over matter that can be used? And I started to practice, amplifying my intentions with crystals, imagining that when I'm holding a crystal, I'd send that intention right to the center of the earth and vibrate the entire planet through the crystalline network with my intentions, whether it's to bring more peace, bring more people joy, to manifest different weather that's needed, whether there's areas that are on fire like Australia, Brazil, BC. This type of power can work to amplify those intentions for the greater good, basically.
Thank you.
So here we have a citrine, which is a pretty
You
cool
have to
crystal.
hold it up really close so they can.
It's as you can see, it's like almost like a golden yellow color, and this crystal is good for connecting with the solar plexus chakra. It basically is like a personal power source. So it's good for getting rid of like procrastination, putting your thoughts and ideas into action. Basically, the affirmation for solar plexus is "I do." So it's like what you put out into the world.
Okay.
So,
So if I'm looking to like a little more focus in my day, you know, a little more focus, because I tend to kind of like, you know, a little wonky with the focus thing. I jump, you know, so that can make you procrastinate, you know, because you're not focused on one thing. So this is something I would use to help focus.
to get her done, basically.
Get her done.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Awesome.
Yeah, it's also good for abundance too. Like they call it the merchant stone, citrine. So some people that own businesses use a lot of citrine to attract business customers, just better energy in their business.
You sell a couple more houses. That's right. So
This one,
this is really cool. I like this one. You could go really, really close so that you can see.
yeah, it's blue and it's kind of speckly with white there. It's a sodalite crystal. So this is one of the royal crystals that Ontario is most known for. So it's really cool. It's one of my favorites because it comes from my local country and my local province here in Ontario.
I did not know this.
Yeah, they have
I did not know.
they have a mine about 4 hours away that most of this stuff comes from in Bancroft, Ontario.
Very cool. I did not know that.
Yeah, it's
And it's been sitting here in my house. So tell me about it. Like, what energies does this amplify?
it's a very calming energy, basically. Like this will bring you into a peaceful type of meditation. Like some people, when they're using crystals, they want to get really activated and amplify their energy so they can manifest or heal or direct energy or whatever. This is more of like a personal stone for just calming yourself down if you've had a stressful day. Or it also works on the communication chakra, so because it's blue. So the throat chakra. So it helps clear those insecurities about expressing yourself and communicating and all that other stuff that has to do with, you know, just voicing yourself in this world.
So it tends to calm you, you know, and help ground you a little bit. Yet it helps with that opening up that communication throat chakra.
Yeah, the two.
I don't have any trouble with that anymore.
The two seem connected, you know.
doing that.
When you're calm, you're able to express yourself a lot easier.
Yeah.
So
very true.
they kind of work together in that way.
I love this. It's one of my. They're all my favorites. I'm gonna say that about everyone. I'm like, I love that one. It's one of my absolute favorites. This is so pretty. This is. Let me show you that. It's beautiful green.
It's a green calcite.
Looks a little bit like my T-shirt. I love, and I'm such a green person. I love green. I'm a child of the earth and trees, so
Amazing.
I love green. So what is this?
This is green calcite. Calcite comes in all kinds of different colors. If you're like Nanette here, you probably like the green the best. It's holding just like a very powerful love energy, similar to the rose quartz.
Okay.
It activates the heart chakra for that unconditional love, bringing that love from the earth, from all of creation that essentially brought everything into existence is love. It's the force that manifests all. So this helps you get in tune with that vibration within yourself, with that self-love, to be able to just manifest with that creative energy that's within everything.
Beautiful. Yeah, I love this one. It is one of my. They're all going to say this about all of them. They're all my favorites. But and then did we talk about this one? Is this citron?
Yeah, this is just another
a
citron.
crystal citron, so it's a little bit different. But
So this
citron.
one's like more orange. They come different colors.
That's lovely. I love that one.
Yeah, basically citrine is amethyst that's been heated within the earth, so it changes
Oh,
color.
I did not know this.
Yep.
Okay, so it's an amethyst heated within the earth. This is something very common. You can actually, I was in HomeSense yesterday, and there were clusters of these. And Ryan's going to tell you a little bit about them, and I'll tell you what I do, what I use it for. But
Yeah, this is selenite. So this is actually one of my favorite crystals to use because I'm a Taurus. So I don't know if people know that different crystals resonate with the different astrology signs. So you could look up your sign, and then you could look up what crystals would benefit you based on the star signs that were present during your birth. So for me, selenite's really good for clearing energy because it's so white and pure. It's connected to the angelic realms. If you bring this outside in the sun, you'll see that the sun really makes it like shine in a very unique way, like almost like no other material will glow like that in the sun. So basically using this crystal, say you've had like a negative interaction with somebody and somebody threw a little bit of anger at you, or was a little bit depressed or just low vibe. When you're by yourself, if you hold a piece of selenite and you just simply ask the earth to purify those energies from you, you'll be feeling a lot lighter. Like that's what I do often.
I've noticed that too. I mean, even when I've had headaches, I can literally just kind of wave this over me or just lay it on my forehead, and it literally like absorbs the headache from me. And I often forget to do that. But I do know that this is not just sit in water because it
will disintegrate in the water.
It will disintegrate,
and it's
but
not healthy to drink.
It's not healthy. But I do stir my water with it just because I feel like it pulls any of the dark energies, especially with chlorinated water and some of the water that we get from our tap. So I do a quick stir, and then I always take my water and infuse it with love. So, but I do use it for that, but do be careful with that. And then Ryan brought, well, no, I think we should go with this one first because a lot of people are seeing these.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that ask me about these crystal skulls that are becoming more popular now, and people are just wondering, like, what's the difference between a chunk of crystal and a crystal that's been shaped like a skull?
Hold it really close so that they can see.
You can see the face there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's carved very nice. These are carved by hand by artists all around the world. This one seems to have come from Brazil.
I have a small one here.
Yeah, there's a smoky quartz one right there. So these crystal skulls, the story and the legend behind these skulls is back sometime in the 1900s, they were excavating sites in Mexico, and they're hoping to find some artifacts. And someone named Mitchell Hedges ended up finding a crystal skull within the ruins, and they took it back to a lab for testing to see like what tools these ancient people used to carve the crystal. And they brought it to IBM computers to test it out. And basically, these scientists were amazed. They said, no modern day tools could carve this crystal skull the way that they did it. There's no markings of any tools or anything. It's a perfectly cut crystal. So they said that the only way we could imagine that this could be done was through some kind of vibration technology that we don't have right now. So this is like a little bit more than what most people want to think about, right? Like technology that's more advanced than what we have even today. But the purpose of these is I believe that they were left behind by either an ancient civilization in the past or an extraterrestrial type of race that wants to communicate with humanity in a subtle way. So they're leaving these clues behind to show us that by using crystals, we can activate our energy, we activate our chakras, especially the higher ones.
And perhaps communicate with those beings. Right?
Exactly. When your chakras are open, these beings are going to be able to recognize you a lot faster than when you're just vibrating on a physical level.
Right.
So that's kind of the purpose of these skulls, is they hold information from other dimensions. And they can be used to transmit information like basically between dimensions as well. They're a shamanic tool. Like they're pretty popular for shamans to use.
Yes.
When they're doing their ceremonies, they gaze into the eyes of the skull, and you can start to soften your gaze and you see energies start to come off this crystal. So it's a very useful tool. It's very advanced. I've been working with crystals since 2012, when apparently there was like a big activation that was happening on the planet. And I never expected to really like them, but I did a shamanic experience where just naturally I started to see energies that I'd never seen before ever in my life start flowing through these crystals. So I was like, wow, there's something here that is very special.
Yeah.
So I started studying where these skulls came from, and I started to see that they were a mystery that needs to be solved.
Mm-hmm. So they're just like more a communicative device then. So I'm going to start working with this because I think in my meditations, I'm going to start working with this because I'm very much in tune with the skulls. I'm drawn to them.
Yeah, they give out a lot of energy. Like a one crystal skull can produce energy that will affect like a whole kilometer radius, basically. Even if people aren't aware of the healing energy, it's still affecting them on a subtle level that they might not consciously know about. But it's just like sending a prayer or an intention to somebody. It's that.
So you can infuse it with that intention of helping someone or healing someone or guarding protection or
it can be used for a distance type of healing or prayer
And this baby.
Yeah, this is my Canon crystal. So this is a Lemurian quartz crystal. The reason why I say it's Lemurian is because it came from a certain mine.
Wow.
In Brazil.
I'm buzzing, Ryan, take.
It's super powerful,
buzzing.
yeah. This is one of my most powerful crystals that I use for earth activations, planetary activations, and just general healing for myself. It's a very big, bulky crystal, so I let a lot of people hold it because, I'm not too worried about it breaking. And just the energies that I felt from this. You can see a lot of rainbows and stuff inside of it. I scry in this often, and you can see faces of different spirits that actually live within this crystal.
It's beautiful.
From within the earth. This level of crystal is very rare to find. I very rarely see people that use crystals like this, but it just shows, I'm very dedicated to, like I said, doing these planetary activations. So I bring these crystals wherever I go all around the world and speak about them. And I go to where these energy lines intersect on the earth, which is called ley lines, and I do ceremonies there to affect the entire planetary consciousness with these crystals.
All right. So when you go to those junctures, and you bring your crystals and you infuse that energy there, it must shoot out through those lines.
Yep. Yeah, you can do distance healing from places, sacred places like Lake Louise in Alberta.
Very powerful.
There's places all around the world, basically. That's the Archangel Michael vortex, is Lake Louise, because there's basically a triangular point there where all the intersections meet for the whole world. So for someone like me that's praying for world peace, praying to bring rain to Brazil and Australia, I found that the manifestations have happened very quickly using that place. Okay. So these crystals, they hold the energy from the sacred sites as well. So when you go there and you charge them up with that life force energy that exists there, and then say bring them back to Windsor or wherever you're going, people will feel a way different vibe. Like, whoa, what have you been doing with that crystal?
I can feel that energy. Just I can feel how beautiful the energy that coming off of that right now. So as soon as Ryan came in, I've just amplified. Everything's amplified for me right now. So.
Good. I tell people that the purpose of me collecting these crystals, one of the purposes is to show people how beautiful the earth really is. The earth, this crystal isn't cut. This wasn't made by anybody. This came straight from a cave in Brazil like this. And people in ancient times, as I mentioned before, these crystals are holding all the information from all experiences on the earth. So some masters in the past were aware of this, and they were actually downloading their consciousness into the planet to be stored into these crystals to come up now to heal the sickness that's on the surface of the earth. And when I say sickness, I mean people that kind of have closed-minded ideas. That's kind of like a sickness that's stopping the evolution of the planet. So when someone comes through with a crystal like this and they start talking about magic and manifestation and intention, it's going to open those doorways for people really fast. Even if they don't believe in it, just the fact that someone is doing it, it's happening. So it's happening. Yeah. It's very powerful. The Lemurian people, it was a continent similar to Atlantis that sunk before the modern day. And these people were very spiritually advanced. They were in tune with the earth. There was a lot of just very meaningful connections. Everybody had seen the oneness and they weren't fighting each other. But that level of consciousness fell to where we are today. So these masters started planting themselves in these crystals And these crystals are very different compared to normal quartz. You can feel the energy that's different.
You can feel it.
You can see that they're just a nicer quality. And they all decided to go, a lot of them, to Brazil to plant their energy because they knew that it was a very high spiritual place, and people would be going there to look for that type of stuff here in this day and age. So,
and that's happening. That's happening now. You know, I mean, how many people are traveling to, Brazil for spiritual healing, for the ayahuasca, for shamanism, for all sorts of energy grids that lie there. So there's a lot of correlation. So of course, they set them there so that they'd be found, they'd be utilized, and perfect. Thank you. Thanks, Ryan. That was great. That was my very first time interviewing anybody, and I'm so excited that it was Ryan. I wanted to share crystals because crystals are readily available just at some local shops here. White Feather or Smudge have crystals, and they're relatively inexpensive. You can gravitate to one and see how it feels for you, and then pick it up and hold it and keep it with you and feel the energy within it, meditate with it, and let it be part of you. And they're beautiful, and they're also really beautiful gifts to give to people. I give them away for home, like a home gift. When they buy a house, I give them a little package with some crystals and smudge and other little things. And people really appreciate it, and they're starting to learn more by giving them as a gift. So I think it's a great way to start just teaching at whatever level we can get these crystals in front of others. Yeah. Brian is an amazing Reiki master who has done some healing for me that has been he's blessed, most definitely, and gifted.
Yeah, I teach classes educating people how to use crystals to heal themselves if they're interested in using it for a larger mission. I also help people with that as well. My business basically is I'm connected to these mines in Brazil where these crystals come from. So I have an inventory of these crystals that is available. Sometimes it's limited because they get bought so quickly. But if people are interested in Lemurian crystals or any other type of crystals, I also supply them too. You just have to reach out to me or Nanette.
I'll give you his contact information.
Yeah.
And you can talk more to Ryan about these. We're not going to have much more time today, but we'll talk. You can have a personal consultation with him. He's open to that.
Of course,
he's open to Reiki healings and shamanism.
All levels of soul healing and spiritual service I've practiced with, doing tarot card readings, rune readings, just intuitive energy readings, chakra clearings, all that kind of stuff, clearing etheric attachments to other people, if you want to move on in life. Even exorcisms. I know it sounds scary, but sometimes, when
we have some negative stuff hanging in, little hitchhikers. They
don't
want to go.
Yeah, some people have to protect themselves with prayer to be able to get rid of these things. Absolutely. Because your thoughts are like a source of energy for them. And
especially when you're open, very open soul, right?
Yeah, so I wear a lot of these crystal pendants too. I'll just speak about quickly. It's a crystal pendant that's shaped with sacred geometry. So this crystal basically is like an energy shield. So when I walk into a room, I'm not absorbing all the energy in the room. I'm just kind of like putting my energy out. And
I need one of those.
Yeah, it's very useful for protection. It's called a Vogel pendant. So it's cut with the phi ratio angle, so it pulls light in a certain way to harness the light energy just at a higher level. I also wear moldavite. Moldavite is a crystal that came from space. This connects me to my star family, basically, the incarnations that I've had before coming to this world. Whether you believe in that or
doesn't
not.
Matter.
Yeah, I'm open to speaking about, my experiences.
That's right.
Moldavite's a very rare crystal. It's more rare than gold. And using this in a shamanic ceremony is next level. Literally, you will be...
Can you get that crystal? Because I don't know if you can get it just anywhere.
It's very hard to find. It's very rare. It comes from the Czech Republic, which is like a sacred spot as well. And I sell it often. Like if I find moldavite, then I grab it right away because I know that it's getting more and more rare.
Okay.
And I really know how to teach people how to use it. So it's just something that I really love to do.
Awesome.
Yeah, anyways, this time has just flown by. I can't believe it.
I think we're done.
Yeah.
We didn't want it to be too long, but we wanted to share with you energies, how they work, some healing, and Ryan here. So
Yeah, it's been a pleasure to connect.
I'll have his contact information below. If you'd like to get in touch with him for a personal consultation on any of the modalities he spoke about, you'll be able to do that. And thanks for joining, and thanks Ryan for coming.
Thanks, Jeanette. Thanks, everyone on Inside Out.
Ciao.